Hello, my name is Xander from Terrytown, and welcome to your Sunset Trail 260 ARL. I'm start this off by saying the wind is pretty heavy today, so I'm going to be trying my best to block it out and get the most information to you as I can. But just in case some birds come through, I'm just going to stop, kind of let it do its thing, and then I'm going to continue. But other than that, I'm going to start right up front here with your front power tongue jack. You do have a light, just in case you do need to hook up at night, which is going to be this button right here. I'm going to turn your battery disconnect on so you can actually get power so you can see what's going on. But that battery disconnect is for your battery. Pretty self-explanatory. It disconnects and engages the battery to the inside of the camper. So otherwise, you can kind of see it turn on and off right there. And then you're going to have your up and down for your front power tongue jack here as well. Right back here is going to be a manual override. So as long as you peel this little black tab up here, you can access underneath, and that isn't going to be a manual override. Just in case that ever electrically goes out, you can then go ahead and peel that up or down, crank that up or down, and yeah, get that nice and easy. Moving on to the propane tanks over here, you are going to have your regulator switch with this little black piece here. So whichever way this little black piece is pointing is going to be the propane tank it is going to be taken from. So if it's pointing to the right, it's going to take this tank, flip it around, vice versa. And then right behind here, if I can get the camera to flip, is going to be that little clear tab right here. That's going to be red, but then when there's propane going through it, that is going to turn clear. So you kind of know when your propane is going to be out, so you know when to flip it to the other propane tank. And then we just went over the battery disconnect. Inside here, you're going to have, of course, a light, a sewer hose, which I do recommend getting a better one, a 25-foot drinking hose, a 110 adapter, just in case you do need to plug this unit into your house. Then right here is going to be a little outside shower port, like a spray port nozzle. So if you ever need to access or spray anything off, you are able to do that with this hose here. Moving on to your water connections, you're going to have your city water connection here, which is going to be your main source of water. So when you get to a campground, this is what you're going to want to plug into. So as soon as you plug that campground hose into here, that is going to then shoot water through your lines. Just up here is going to be your fresh tank. So if you're going out in the middle of nowhere and need to bring water with you, you can go ahead and fill this up. It's just a gravity fill. You just stick a hose in there, let it fill up, and then when you turn on your water pump, that pump is then going to draw water from this big tank and push it through your lines. And right down here is going to be that drain for your fresh tank. So that little white pole there is going to be that. And then last but not least, you have a black tank flush. So I'll explain more about the black tank on the other side, but just a brief example, or brief explanation. Your black tank is going to contain like toilet paper and everything like that. So when you go to drain it out, all that gets stuck. So then you go ahead and flush everything out with this. So when you put a pressurized hose in there, that just kind of helps turn on a sprinkler and flush everything out. But I'll explain more when we get to your sewer connection right here. So you're gonna have your gray tank pull and your black tank pull. So those are gonna be your empties. So your black tank is going to contain your toilet. So that's why there's gonna be toilet paper and other stuff in there that may get stuck. That's why you need the black tank flush for that. And this is going to be your gray tank. Your gray tank is going to contain shower, sink water, stuff like that. So I recommend doing the black tank first, just grabbing the handle, go ahead and pulling, and it's gonna drain out. When it's done draining, that's when you go and put the hose into the black tank flush and flush everything out. Otherwise, I recommend doing the gray tank last, just because that is the cleanest water out of the two. So when you do go to then grab the sewer hose, it kind of gives it one last little flush for you. And then just back there is going to be the hot and cold lines to your low point drains. So when you do decide to empty out all of your water, you just twist those, and that will then drain your hot and cold lines. You're gonna have your, if I can block out this one, you're gonna have your power cord here. So this is your cord. That's just your 30 amp service. And this little black box back here is going to contain your cable and satellite input hookups. You're gonna need a key to unlock it. But you can move this little window out of the way so you can have your cords running through there and into your cable and satellite input, and then you can have it still locked as well. Up top there is going to be backup camera prep. So if you do decide to purchase a backup camera, it will go right up there. Here's that spray port I was talking about. So that blue hose will go right inside of here. and you can go ahead and spray off, you know, feed, food, anything like that that you need to wash off. Over here, it's going to be your little outside kitchen area. The main thing you need to know is for your little grill here, or griddle, you just take that LP hose. It's going to be that gas hose, and you're going to want to plug it right into that little piece there. That's going to give propane through the system, and then once you connect your propane to your grill inside, that'll feed that propane, so you can go ahead and light that. Otherwise, right here, you can have your power tongue or your power stabilizer jacks here. So you can see it's okay if one side goes down before the other. It's still normal. As soon as this one side hits, the other side's going to hit or start to move. And as soon as that side hits, you're going to want to let go, because it's not meant to raise the unit, it's just meant to stabilize. So as soon as you hear and feel that pressure, go ahead and let go, because obviously, like I said before, you do not want to keep pushing, because it's not meant to raise it, it's just meant to stabilize. And of course, you just hold retract, and then both of them will go up at the same time. It just takes a little while. There we go. And then right here is going to be your water heater. Only a couple steps to turn it on, a couple steps to turn it off. So these two are going to be for your low point drains. That's why the caps are inside here. But this is going to be your water heater cap. You're going to want to put this on the spout and put it as tight as you can get it. I'm just going to, I'm just going to kind of set it on there for a visual purpose rather than anything, you know, purposeful. But you are going to want to make sure that that is on and nice and tight. Once it's on and tight, go to the inside of your camper and turn on the hot side of your faucet. It is then going to fill this tank up. It's going to sit there and sputter for a little bit, but that's normal. So once this is on and you have a steady flow of water coming out the hot side of your faucet, you can go ahead and then turn this on. To take this off and release all of your water, you pull this pressure release valve here. It's going to hiss, releasing all of your pressure, and then you go ahead, unscrew that, and then all of your water is going to drain right out of that hole there. If you do decide to have a small TV outside or something like that, you're going to have your cable and satellite inputs right in here. So these two things are going to be on a bigger size in your back. So that's what's going to be in that little black box. Otherwise, right here, you can have your 110 outlets or power outlets there. Right on here is going to be your furnace exhaust. When your furnace is on, all the extra heat is going to be kicking out of there. So for any little kids, animals, things like that, try to keep them away from that. And then right here, you just have extra crank jacks. Moving inside, make sure your door is completely open before you use your stairs, either putting them away or taking them out. And then to take them out, you just twist either way, to the right or to the left, and you go ahead and pull. To adjust the legs, you just push one of these buttons in, and of course move them up and down for different ground clearances. Otherwise, you just twist and pull, and it will drop. Moving inside, you're going to have your main power panel here. So you're going to have your battery reader, fresh tank reader, black tank, and then gray tank. So since there's only two in this unit, you're going to have your black tank and your gray tank. Otherwise, you have your awning light, indoor lights, and then you're going to have your water pump. So if you need to use that fresh tank, you can go ahead and suck that water up with this water pump here. You have two elements to your water heater, so whichever one you flip is, of course, going to be the power that it uses. So you have gas and electric. Then you also have tank heaters, so that just kind of warms your underbelly to make sure that, you know, if you're camping in cooler weather, it's not going to freeze your tanks. And the lights I just talked about. Awning, retract, and extend. So with your awning, it's not going to automatically stop. So you have to let go on your own. So I'm just going to show you that real quick. It's hard to explain. But you're just going to want to extend until you see the flap come down, and then the gray bar it's sitting on underneath. So it's extremely windy out, but there's the flap I was talking about. And then keep going, there's the gray bar. Of course, like I said, it's very windy, so you can't really see the gray bar, but as soon as you see that, just go ahead and let go and reel back in. And then in a minute here, we're going to go over your slide button. But meanwhile, while I'm doing this, this is going to be your thermostat. So you have your 3 buttons, the up arrows to bring your temperature up, down arrow to bring your temperature down, and then the bottom little piece there is going to then control, of course, what system it chooses. So whether it's going to be your AC, heat, or just a fan, you can go ahead and do that by clicking this bottom piece here. So off, fan settings, cool settings, and then of course your heat, and then off. Just gotta shut this door. And then down here, you're going to have your carbon monoxide detector. So that's always going to be running just as a safety feature. So it has that little green light on it, so that will drain your battery if you're not hooked up to anything. So with that, what I do recommend doing is when you go to put your camper away, just make sure the battery disconnect is off. And even when it's off, double check that that green light is off. Because if that green light isn't, you're gonna have to take the negative end off of your battery as a backup safety feature. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, there's just a few things for your bathroom that I want to talk about. It's gonna be for your toilet. So it's just a foot flush, so you just press down with your foot and it's going to flush. And then you are going to need RV grade toilet paper and toilet solution. The solution is gonna help break down solids and smells. And then the toilet paper is just gonna help break down easier, just to make sure everything flows nice and easy. So this is just because you have 30 amp instead of 50 amp. So you just have a fireplace and AC switch, because obviously you don't need both at the same time. So you just choose whichever one you want. And of course with the AC, flip that down. For the fireplace, flip it up. And then for your bedroom, there's not really a whole lot to it. Just make sure that if you do decide to put that TV in there, you have your outputs or inputs, and you have your, what do you call it? Why can't I think of the name right now? Your 110 power outlets right there. And then for the slide, so that's out. You're going to have your microwave here. And then you're gonna have your light and then your fan. And then for your oven and stove, click to turn the light on. Then you just press turn to release the gas, and then you spark to the right to ignite. And then all the same goes for your oven, except you're gonna wanna look at the very far back right there. That's going to be your little igniter where the gas comes out. So you just press in, turn to the pilot, spark, spark, spark until you see that small flame, and then go ahead and adjust to your temperature needed. You're gonna have your keys here. These gray ones are gonna be for your main doors, baggage doors, and then the silver ones are going to be for your little cable and satellite compartment. For your fridge, you just hold this button until it beeps, and then you control your temperature. It's gonna be 1 through 5. So whether you choose your refrigerator or your freezer, you of course control the temperature right here. And then this little nighttime mode, all it really does, there's not a huge purpose for it. It just kind of dumps down the amount of battery being used, just so if you're going, away for a long time and still need your fridge to run, it's not going to run as much power, so it'll kind of keep your battery in check. And then for your fireplace down here, so I had a quick run back outside because the power wasn't all the way turned or plugged in. So that's why this didn't light up when I opened it up. And anyway, coming back down here, click to turn on the power button. It's gonna be hard to see, but everything's gonna be on the top right there. You're gonna have your lights, so color change, brightness, and then you control your temperature on the top right with this here. I just went from left to right. And you're gonna have your breakers and fuses in here. So everything's gonna be labeled just like a house would be. Then for your fuses, I do recommend bringing some extras just in case. It's just a personal recommendation, but I do recommend bringing some. You can pick those up at any auto parts store. Down here, this is where your heat is going to come out. And then up top here is going to be where your AC comes out. So for the dump, open these up. Your air is just going to come out. Most people do that when they first get to a campground. So they start to get air moving, start cooling it down. And then when they do start to get it cool, they'll close it up. And that's when it starts to travel through the ceiling and start flowing through. But other than that, that has been your brief orientation. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to write them down. And then when you come in to pick it up, you can go ahead and have us answer those for you. Or you can just go ahead and email me back and I can give you answers then. Other than that, congratulations and I hope you enjoy.